Same-sex marriage is fueling debates across the country and, of course, right here in St. Louis. Joining us tonight is Cynthia Davis. She's a former Republican member of the Missouri House of Representatives. She lives in O'Fallon. She owns Back to Basics Christian Bookstore. On the other side, we have A.J. Bockelman, Executive Director for Promo. That's an organization that builds community awareness and grassroots support for LGBT equality. Now, A.J., 40 states don't allow gay marriage. Justice Alito said he has concerns about ruling on something he called so new. In fact, he said it's newer than cell phones or the internet. Your response to that?
Well, actually, it's not quite new. If you go back to when the origins of DOMA were around, that was 1996. The challenges that brought DOMA about were brewing in the late 80s because Hawaii was one of the first states to start moving forward about marriage. So it's not necessarily a completely new argument. Now, history has moved forward very quickly. We've seen the LGBT community, gay and lesbian couples, be married in 10 different states, and it's creating an issue somewhat like we saw in 1967 around interracial marriage when Loving v. Virginia was decided.
And of course, President Clinton signed that bill, now saying it's unconstitutional. Cynthia, your biggest fear if DOMA is overturned?
Well, as a former state legislator, I feel very protective of the rights of states. When is big government going to be big enough to satisfy itself? It won't. And so this really is an issue of robbing the states of their rightful jurisdiction. They need to be able to make their choices. The states are the ones that issue the licenses. The states are the ones that do the divorces. Divorces aren't done in the federal government. So it really is a matter of proper jurisdiction, and we ought not give it up because just because Washington, D.C. might be to the left of the rest of the country doesn't mean that's going to fly in Missouri.
So it's not that you're against gay marriage, necessarily. It's that you believe that this should be the state's decision.
Oh, I'm very much in favor of marriage, and marriage was defined in DOMA as a relationship between a man and a woman. So that's what DOMA actually says, and I don't think it's at all appropriate for the U.S. Supreme Court to take it upon themselves to try and change the definition of marriage. If the Congress wants to take up the question, that is their jurisdiction, not the Supreme Court's.
Okay, AJ.
What I actually find interesting is that Cynthia and I are actually on the same page, that I do believe it's a states' rights issue. And at the heart of the arguments that Justice Kennedy made today is that you have a system right now that has 10 different states that have defined marriage to be open to same-sex couples. And now it's created an issue with Defense of Marriage Act, DOMA, in that we no longer qualify under the Equal Protection Clause. Section 3 of DOMA actually calls out and suspends the Equal Protection Clause. So you have a system where 10 states do recognize same-sex couples, and there is no change to the definition of marriage. Marriage is, as always, a union of two people.
A man and a woman is what DOMA says. But the point is that we have to look at what we're doing to ourselves as a society and who should be able to make that decision. So when the states make that determination, then that's done best because it's done local and within the values of that particular state. Furthermore, it's really nothing more than a money grab. We're talking about marriage as it pertains to government is all about property. How do we define our property if we don't have laws that clarify who has what?
All right, Cynthia, AJ, thank you so much for being here, helping us discuss this debate. We appreciate it.